You're very welcome to the Keith Andrews Show with you every Thursday on Facebook, YouTube and Twitter. You're very welcome to the Keith Andrews Show with you every Thursday on Facebook, YouTube and Twitter. With me today is Mr. Kevin Kilbane. Kev, thanks for joining us.
Okay, you got a wry smile on your face when you're looking at me there. Is there a reason for that?
Well, I had popped out to the toilet and you had come back in where I was wondering where you were. I texted you early to make sure you were in. You were grand. No problem.
Like say, you texted me to make sure I hadn't been out on the sauce last night. Really?
Well, yeah, I did mention a particular bar I was thought you might be in, but then I walked into the studio hearing "Where's Wiggy?" So that was obviously me. And then what's greeted me is you in your running gear.
I've been out for a run. Healthy mind, healthy body.
Give us a look. Give us a look at your shorts. Come on, stand up.
Yeah.
Tell us where you got the shorts from.
Can you see that? The shorts. I've got the FBI. I can't let it go, Keith. I cannot let it go. You know.
Is there any wonder why Dick Redmond is very close to our hearts? Like, he's the kit man for Ireland, by the way.
If you're watching, I didn't nick them from you. That's all I'm saying. Yeah.
So listen, we've got Daryl Murphy on the show later on. Yeah. We spoke to him last night.
Yeah.
Did a pre-record with him. Obviously retired. We're obviously both retired a few years. You're obviously keeping in good nick.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I think it is. You know yourself, don't you? It's a difficult one. I mean, I know he's certainly not retired from club level yet, but you need that little bit of, I don't know, exercise, keep your mind active, whatever it would be, whether you go to the gym. I used to go to the gym when I was playing every single day, and you probably would have been the same yourself, certainly to an extent, 3-4 times a week. And now I can't stand going to the gym. I prefer just to get out and have a run. So it'd be interesting to see how the next crop of lads go after they finish.
You're a shining example for them. Coming up on the show, we've got Kev's fitness regime, the return of Seamus Coleman, the top 4 rat race, Pogba's role at Man United, which is annoying me at the moment, Daryl Murphy's interview, which we already spoke about, and Irish players on the move in January and the transfer market in general. So let's get straight into Seamus Coleman. We've got a little clip here of Seamus. Made his comeback last night and he spoke to Ocean FM after the game.
It was great, just great to get the kit on, great to be out there. I had to blank out maybe a little bit of the reception I got because I needed to focus fully on the job at hand, and now that the game's done, I can appreciate the reception I got from the fans, and it's a night that I won't forget. Having my wife and my 2 little girls here as well was important.
What a comeback. I know you were working last night, and that game I wasn't on live. I was actually supposed to cover that game last night, so I'm raging I couldn't get there. By the way, I should mention that was Paul Pogba, who looked like he'd manoeuvred his way into Seamus' own personal box after the game, wearing a lovely Ocean FM coat, which I don't know if you had an off the ball code.
No. I'm still looking to Jerry and Adrian to try and get me one of those.
March 24th was when he had the injury, so here we are on the last day of January yesterday. I don't think we can underestimate how big of a deal this was in terms of, he played 58 minutes last week for the 23s. In the build-up to this game, he's in the squad. I don't know what you thought. I thought, okay, if the game goes to plan, he might get 20 minutes. Get him back in. The crowd will go crackers. But to play the full game, that's staggering.
I mean, I believe he could have been back maybe a month earlier than what he has been. There was some problem, and yourself, you're coming back from that type of injury, or certainly a long-term injury, you get other little niggles, and I believe he had some thigh trouble as well in the last month, 6 weeks, which has maybe held him back a little bit. But I'm with you totally. From the fact is that it's all right playing practice games, it's all right playing the 23 games, but for him to step up to that level, play to the level he actually did, first of all, because you expect, maybe he might be able to continue that, carry that through for 45 minutes at best, but don't forget 60 minutes, and then all of a sudden he's going through for 90 minutes, he's playing a full game, he's playing to the level, it's almost as if he's never been away. He's played to such a level, and it does show that Everton this season, and I firmly believe it, and of course I'm biased towards Everton as a club, but I think Everton have got, certainly over the last 10 years, the last 8 years, they've got the 2 best fullbacks, so they can be considered the 2 best fullbacks in the Premier League, in Leighton Baines and of course Seamus Coleman. Now they've had the 2 of them out all season. It's no coincidence where they are in the league. Now all of a sudden Seamus coming back into the club now, coming back into the team, it gives everyone a lift. You only see Everton have been great for what they did, the flags that they put out, they got the crowd buzzing for Seamus's return, and he's just come in, and it's almost, but the thing is, Seamus, he doesn't give a crap, does he? He's not bothered about all the furore around it.
But when he got injured though, I spoke at the time and I thought, if there's anybody that I know or I've played with, or you know personally, and I wouldn't know Seamus very well personally. He was in the squads, and we felt he should.
I'd have been the same. Yeah, I'd have been the same.
2012 felt he should have really been in that squad, but in terms of his steeliness and his determination, and his no nonsense and his focus, I couldn't think of anyone better to come back from that type of injury. Obviously, medically, you don't know exactly what way it's going to go, but in terms of his character, his DNA, I couldn't think of anyone better.
Yeah, I think as well, I think we have to maybe give a little mention as well to Alan Byrne, John O'Byrne, the FAI medical team as well, who we both would know really well. First of all, with the FAI medical staff, it's the players first and foremost. It's the health more than anything. So they did the right things immediately after that injury. They've done the right things, put the right certainly. First 24 hours, the right medical in place, or medical information in place, or the medical advice in place to him, looking after him fully, and that's, I think, first of all, that gets him right. But you maybe touched on something there, the mental side of it as well, the steeliness that's within him. It does take a lot mentally to get yourself right.
Even long-term injuries is a test. So I was out for a year and a half. I only played about 3 or 4 games, and you come back and then it's not quite right, and you've got to go again, and as you're getting close to coming back, you think you can see it's the light at the end of the tunnel, and then next of all the light bulb goes out and you've got to go again. And that wasn't with any horrific type of injury. For me, it was a groin issue. So for Seamus to come through this type of injury, contact, horrible, the whole world was talking about it, and no problem. Like in the 23s games last week,
did you see the tackle he did in the 23s? I saw it on Twitter, I think it was, and he said after that game, look, I needed to just it wasn't so much go through him, but I needed to go through a tackle just mentally to get it off, get that out of the system.
Well, you like that when you came back from injuries in training? Did you want to get you float in training? Nobody, look, don't touch Kev, don't touch Keith, he's coming back from injury, or whoever it is. I wanted to be
you do, but you know
tested.
Your body. I mean, I was probably a different player where you would have been up against players from that physical side. Certainly when I was coming through, I had ankle troubles as a younger lad, and coming back from those ankle injuries, because you were maybe having to try to beat players when I was playing at that stage as a young kid, as a wideman, you were trying to stay away from that physical contact. But as soon as you took that first hit from the fullback or wherever it would be, you automatically felt better. Of course you felt the whack and you were getting on from it, but the next day back in training felt so much easier. You almost needed one of the lads to actually go through you. That's what you needed.
You needed to stay away from people like Kevin Muscat. I heard about him a few
I played against him a few times. I tell you, he was the worst I played against him. Just naughty, stuff off the ball. Naughty isn't the word for him. Well,
he knew how to look after himself. Sam Allardyce was obviously delighted with what he witnessed last night. Seamus right back, Theo Walcott on the right getting the 2 goals. He was alternating on the left, right, Sigurdsson and Rooney. Nice little balance. Sam Allardyce actually said there's a new partnership flourishing that's come together for the very first time, Seamus and Theo. Everybody could see that and impact these two players. That's actually quite exciting for an Everton perspective, isn't it? To get Seamus back up to it. And I was thinking about this last night. I was watching Match of the Day and the highlights, and you could see where Walcott was picking up his positions. For Seamus coming back, and I know adrenaline probably got him through a lot of that game last night, certainly the latter stages, because they did get tested in the second half. It wasn't a comfortable win. If we say Seamus Coleman's Everton return, bordered on extraordinary. That's in the Liverpool Echo, like staggering. But for the first few weeks, to have someone in front of him like Theo Walcott, where he's not always, like, you reverted to a fullback, you don't always have to overlap. That'll probably help him out at times. Well,
I think as you get older, I think certainly when I went and played as a fullback, it wasn't natural to me. So I think it certainly helped playing. If I was playing maybe for Trapp or even Steve Bruce, I would have had at club level as well. There were managers that wanted me to support from behind and not necessarily wanting to get beyond anyway. And I think that helped me maybe learn the position quicker than maybe most, or certainly a modern day fullback are expected to. You've got to be running the length of the pitch constantly. Where it helped me being able to play from behind. Seamus's natural game is to work the length of the pitch, or the full length of the pitch, and that's the thing. If he's got a Walcott in front of him, he can almost at times, as you say, give him the ball. Support from behind and let his quality take over.
That's going to help him initially coming back from the injury,
definitely,
and then also ongoing as he obviously gets
I totally agree with that.
I think we both echo that. Delighted to see him back from his point of view, and also a little bit of positivity from
the other thing as well. Mangala going in there as well. You mentioned the side, but Mangala going in, that was an interesting one, getting that done late on. they have struggled defensively. Phil Jagielka hasn't been able to reach the levels he's been at in recent years. Ashley Williams hasn't been a great signing for Everton at all. I think he's been quite poor since he's gone in there. Michael Keane, another one, he has been poor across the course of this season.
Keane's a classic case though of the style of play that goes in, and at Burnley, the way they play, they get protection from in front, getting protection from their fullbacks, whereas especially under Koeman it'll be better under Allardyce because it'll be more defensive. But under Koeman, they're just wide open, expansive. He's not used to defending like that.
I'm with you, totally with you, exactly how it is. It's amazing.
Mangala, you would imagine, would be right up Allardyce's street.
Yeah, he will. He did the same with Sakho at Crystal Palace, didn't he? Got him in, Big Sam, and he seemed to be able to get the best out of Sakho when he's got defenders in. I look at other players he's had in years gone by, defenders that have maybe not been wanted by other clubs, and Sam has that way of getting the best out of them. So, yeah, I think, again, he hasn't proved it in the Premier League, has he? He's been quite poor overall, so it is still a risk for Everton.
I want to move on to Chelsea. Lost 3-0 last night. I was driving home after we did the interview with Daryl Murphy last night. You were obviously doing the show with Dave. Goals coming in. It's like, wow. Now look, it's been a very, very happy camp, or seems an unhappy camp, and Antonio Conte in particular just hasn't got that same energy that he had last season. He's clearly a frustrated figure. You would imagine a lot of that is down to the transfers, but that's a spanking at home by a team who have been struggling to pick up points, especially away from home. Like, it would have surprised you if that came up on the yellow ticker today that he's been sacked.
No, not at all. It wouldn't at all. No, I
don't think he should be, and I don't think it will, but it wouldn't really surprise you.
Yeah, I think he's gone at the end of the season, Keith. I do think he's gone. It looks to me he hasn't been happy with the transfer policy. He's continuously spoken about that in the last month or two. Obviously, quite clearly hasn't been happy with the striking issues. Whether or not it's been whoever he's been after, Dzeko, Ashley Barnes, whoever it would be, all these names that would seem to be plucked out, I think Giroud's the best fit probably out of all those players, but he hasn't been able to put it right. Morata hasn't been great across the course of the season after his initial start, Morata's quality, but I think overall the balance of the side hasn't looked like it was last season, and that's why in
terms of Chelsea, in terms of him going in there, you know the model of the club. I know there's been changes behind the scenes, so what do you expect? Do you think because he won the championship last year, because he won the he feels that maybe his power has kind of gone up a notch, where he feels he should have more of a say?
Well, I think that's probably only natural. I think you go in, the club will always sell a player, or a manager will sell a player his ideas and what he's going to do. The club, the chairman, the owners will always sell the manager the idea of the club, where they are going forward and how they want it to be done. So Conte would have known to an extent what was required of him before he went in there. But as time goes by, you get a bit more power. Of course, then winning the Premier League last season, the way in which they won the Premier League, he feels as though he's at a level now where he can maybe start to dictate a little bit. He can start to throw a few orders out, and they simply, it looks to me, outside of looking in, that the board don't want that. They want to continue.
Mourinho a couple of years ago, the exact same thing.
Carlo Ancelotti, you need to look at over the last 10 years. There's been so many.
But when you see Mourinho in recent weeks, we'll move on to him in a second with that result last time, but you see Mourinho in recent weeks again looking that little bit frustrated, throwing the little grenade in terms of what can I do, what more can I do. He gets the Alexis Sanchez deal over the line, whereas Conte's doing it, and he's getting linked with Peter Crouch.
I know. Well, that's the thing, isn't it?
You know,
clearly, I mean, Giroud is Giroud probably the player that a lot of supporters would want? No, but it's almost,
he will be an effective player.
Effective, and that's what I think. I think. But it's a short-term deal, isn't it? He's only signed an 18-month deal as it is. But they could actually have him to the end of the season and then maybe view their options then to think if they're going to go and sign a real class striker. But there are problems there, particularly when they've got it's the Barcelona game, isn't it? They've got coming up as well, Champions League. Because I thought at the start of the season, out of all the Premier League sides, who's got a chance to win the Champions League? I thought Chelsea.
But they've unravelled though.
I know that. They're far away from that now.
Let's move on to Spurs. Manchester United. Spurs 2-0 winners last night. Premier League record attendance. What's a bad start? 10.52 seconds, I think it was.
Unreal.
Fastest goal in Premier League history.
It's good timing, that case.
Stats pal. So combine it with a bit of opinion. Ridiculous start in terms of how basic a goal it was to concede.
It's just amazing. Lump forward, Harry Kane dominates in the air earlier on.
Runners beyond.
Second ball, don't react to it, and then of course a little bit of luck. It's just amazing. How on earth can can a side, we know the when Mourinho drills his side defensively, how can a side start in that manner? Given the fact is, I think it was six games without conceding as well prior to that. It's unbelievable, unbelievable.
Look, we'll talk about Man United first, and then we'll have a little chat about Spurs. But from Man United point of view, Sanchez coming in, it's where he's going to play.
Yeah.
Lingard been so effective in recent weeks as a number 10. He starts on the right, Sanchez, Martial on the left, and Lukaku. But that's not the issue in terms of where he plays for me. It's what's going on behind that. Defensively, they have been quite solid, I think, recently. I think we'd all admit to that. I have to get on to Paul Pogba.
Yeah. Because
Matic, we'd all probably agree, very good, astute signing. He cannot marshal a whole midfield by himself. The ill discipline of Paul Pogba, time and time again, against the top opposition, and Spurs are top opposition when they're in that zone, it beggars belief for me. It really does, in terms of what he does. He's only concerned about his game. He's not concerned about the team and providing cover for, we spoke about Michael Keane at Burnley, gets that cover from. Matic was chasing shadows last night because Pogba was here, there and everywhere. His awareness is shocking. We all know where Spurs want to play. They come inside, their wingers don't stay wide, the fullbacks provide the width. They come into those number 10 areas, and Paul Pogba was nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, well, you would probably analyse him a lot more critically than I would, because it's your position. First of all, you'd probably be like me. When I go to games, I'd always watch maybe left-sided midfield players. You're drawn to it because it's your position. It's only natural. I mean, to be fair to Graham Souness and John Giles, we'd have Gilesy on with us regularly, of course, and regularly talk about this ill discipline, not good enough. They don't do enough on the pitch. Now, I have to say I've been impressed with them this season, but the reason why I do believe it to be to his impressive streak this season has been down to Matic alongside him. Now, whether or not he's been playing the three, it seems to me like, and I've heard it come from Thierry Henry, I've heard it come from other people, that you've got to play him in his position. He's got to play in a 3-man midfield. He's got to play with a sitter behind him. Now, why is that the case? Again, you need to educate me on that a little bit more, Keith, because I see it as, if you're a midfield player, you should be able to play in a 2 or a 3. It doesn't matter.
Especially with the athletic ability that he has, the education he's had as a footballer, come through a magnificent football club, then goes off to Juventus, plays a lot of games internationally and in the Serie A and in the Champions League with top players. Vidal, disciplined Italian players as well. Exactly. Well drilled tactically, defensively. So a lot of that time he would have played in a diamond, left hand side. We keep on hearing he's better from the left. Look, I've already mentioned about those top end. But that's where he has been, Noki. He has been when he's played in the 3. He has been at his best this season, playing in the left in of the 3 in an attacking sense, and I understand that and I agree with that. But when you have the players that Man United now have at the disposal in the final third, they are better in the final third than he is. Yeah. So then you have to think, okay, you sacrifice your ego a little bit for the team, and you have discipline in terms of staying behind the ball. Like we were chatting just before, when you started to come inside and play midfield on the odd occasion, you'd be cautious and you didn't know the role as much or whatever. Now, I'm not being funny, Kev. He needs to know that position a lot more than you would have when you came inside, or when you drop back to full back. It's another learning curve for you. Yeah. He's not interested in it. Like I said before, and I think it's been mentioned about him, he is a FIFA player. It's all step overs, it's all the drama. But in terms of the substance, in terms of the top opposition when he plays against them, more often than not, the Manchester Derby last year, he's going to play left wing. Yeah, well, hold your position, respect the opposition, respect that Son and Eriksen and Dele Alli are very good players, and they want to come into those areas. But do you not think midfield, mate? Do you not think though that he feels as though that he can have an influence on that side? He can actually make a difference to the team, and he knows full well that he's got Matic behind him, where Matic will be that disciplined player, and he can actually go off and have a bit more of an influence. Not necessarily. I'm not necessarily saying in a game like that. He seemed to be at his best when he's playing against the lesser opposition. You've mentioned in the top 6, and I think he has been by and large quite poor against those sides. I know he got suspended against against Arsenal in the Arsenal game, and he missed the Man City game the week after, didn't he? That was a big blow to him from a personal point of view. I thought he was brilliant against Arsenal. I was at that game. I thought he was brilliant on the day, but that was by and large down to how poor Arsenal were. I thought in the middle, and how quickly they're able to get countered against. But yeah, I don't know. I'm still
I'm still open on Pogba. I'm still, honestly, 50-50 with him. I think this season he started to sway me more. Last season I was more 70-30. There's no chance this lad's going to be able to do it.
Less than that.
Well, now I am probably in the balance a bit more now, because I think Pogba's had an influence this season, more of an influence this year than he did last year. But I do feel as though that it's largely down to Matic. Matic has been the key signing for United over the course. And then you're looking at up ahead of him the Lukaku problem and all these sort of things. Lukaku cannot do it against those top sides, no matter how much you look at it. Yeah. Yes, great goal scorer, but he can't do it against the top sides.
Liverpool, after the back of two poor defeats, after the magnificent win against Manchester City, you were at the game on Tuesday night against Huddersfield. Good Liverpool, very good Liverpool, or poor Huddersfield? Personally,
I think Liverpool were good. Liverpool did the job. You look at it on the face of it, 3-0 win, going away to Huddersfield, it looks like a great result. I was so disappointed with Huddersfield, and I have to say it was the change of system for David Wagner. He went to 5 at the back. He's only done that once this season, and that was against Arsenal, and they got beat 5-0. So immediately before the game, when I saw the lineup, I'm thinking, what is the reason for this? Yeah. They've had success getting promoted from the Championship and playing with a back four. High energy is spot on, and they were so passive in the game. They sat so deep. They tried to do what Swansea did last week, albeit with a back 5 this time. And what Swansea raised the intensity when Liverpool were getting into the final third. They were ratting. They were able to get round, playing, closing down, giving Liverpool no space, denying them any sort of chance to go and put little through balls through that we know Liverpool are good at. And I didn't see it from Huddersfield at all. I think they just sat off and they were quite content to allow the ball to be played in front of them. Yes, which is fine, but there's got to come a time when you engage. And Huddersfield didn't do that. And I think Liverpool took full advantage.
I just want to quickly touch on the lower team. So Newcastle, a few weeks ago against Manchester City, and you've seen that game.
Yeah, I did.
Heavily criticised for their performance. Now, in my opinion, I thought it was a little bit harsh. Where I would have been critical of them, because they were everybody was jumping on the bandwagon about how deep they were, how they just sat back content. My issue was, okay, you win the ball back, then what are you doing?
Yeah.
Are you playing direct? Are you playing long? Are you trying to find those few passes to get out of trouble? They just looked like they didn't know what they were doing. So, with someone like Huddersfield, they need, you mentioned it, they need that pace out wide. Thomas Ince, Van Lepar, who came on to be able to get out, but you can't just keep soaking up pressure like that. Yeah,
well, they had one touch in Liverpool's penalty area in the first half. I think it was for the first 60 minutes, and that was actually a good chance they had. Karius now still. I'm not having him at all as a goalkeeper, but anyway, that's for another day. But that was a disappointing thing. They didn't play. You mentioned the high energy. That is the thing that Huddersfield have always had: high energy in your face, and they didn't have it. And that they have ball carries. When you're playing so deep, you know as well as I do, you have to have ball carries in the side. You've got to have players that can carry it 30, 40, 50 or whatever it would be, get you up the pitch, and they just didn't have that. So they played with 2 up front. And I'm thinking, right, you've got 2 up front, you've got 2 big, strong lads, Mounier and Depoitre. I think that's how you pronounce it. If you've got
mobile, are they?
No, they're not mobile, but you can play a bit of a direct style against Liverpool, and then try to try to get lads in behind, play knockdown football a little bit to an extent. They offered nothing, absolutely nothing, and it was till about the 82nd minute, I think it was, before they brought Ince and Van Lepar on, and they started to have a go.
I think they're on a slippery slope, Kev.
I think they might go down here.
Yesterday, I already mentioned, myself and Kev caught up with Daryl Murphy, announced his international retirement. We spoke to him about how tough a decision that was.
Result against Denmark, I had a lot of time to reflect with time gone past. I spoke to my family, friends, and I just think at the age I'm at, and the body needs a rest. I think the internationals are just a bit too much for me at this stage of my career.
How does that performance and results sit with you now, a couple of months on? Is it a tough one to leave on, or do you have a lot of regrets? Is it the manner of the defeat probably doesn't sit well with a lot of the players, I'd imagine? Yeah,
I think so. It still hurts to this day. I think it always hurts when I think about it. But it's just in the manner of it, to go a goal up and then to lose in the way we did. It was very tough to take.
Daryl, I'm just interested in asking, you said there, just regarding your retirement, Keith spoke there about the decision that you made and why you made it, but you spoke about your body and maybe having that international break off now. What are you feeling like when you're getting back then after the international breaks? What is your body like? Do you feel as though that you're tired going into your next game for at club level, or is it just maybe around the whole being 10 days or whatever, a week away from your family and things like that? Has that come into your thinking around it?
Yeah, I think it has, because you need to listen to your body, and I think the last few trips I've had with Ireland, I've come back at Forest and I played on the Saturday because the gaffer just thought I needed a rest.
Yeah.
Whereas when I was younger, if I went away internationals and I come back and I'd be fine. It's just that little break. I mean, the lads are getting 3 or 4 days off while we're away training, and then I might, if I'm lucky enough, play some games and have to come back and play a few days later on a Saturday. And I think in fairness to the gaffer, he spotted that and knew that I wouldn't be at 100%. And I felt it myself. I've had a chat with him before I've come back, and he's asked me how do I feel, and I was just honest with him. I said, I don't think I can play 90 minutes Saturday. And that's just me being honest. As much as I wanted to play every game, I'm not doing myself any favours or the lads any favours.
Daryl, how do you look back on your international career? We're all sat here chatting about it. Kev had a really kind of prolonged international career.
Too long, Kev.
Well, I wasn't going to say that. Yourself and myself had quite different ones as well. You got into it very young, had a spell, and then it was 6 years between your caps, wasn't it? Where and I would have played with you at club level at Ipswich during that spell as well. How do you look back on it? Do you look at that period? Did you lose faith within that period, maybe when certain managers weren't picking you? Is there a sense of frustration, or overall are you quite happy and content?
No, I think just disappointed really that in the manner of what way it came about from being in the squad and coming on as literally first choice sub in games, to not like the next squad not even be in it. It hurt a lot after that, because obviously I take great pride in playing for my country, as anyone does, but that hurt a little bit. It was a sting in the tail for me, that not to just be in the squad at all from going to first choice sub. But I took it on the chin, and then you just think you need to get back and play as well as you can at club level. But I think under that manager, I was never going to get back in really. And it's only till Martin came in that he gave me a chance. Yeah,
Daryl, you're saying that it hurt a lot as well, but there were spells, particularly that Ipswich season, when you were scoring 27 goals across the course of that season. You'd had prolonged spells over 2 or 3 years around then. You're getting at least into double figures. Are you looking at other strikers thinking, I tell you what, I probably feel as though I'm better than him, not necessarily naming names or anything like that, but did you feel as though that you should have been given more opportunity and you were actually better than some of the players that might have been selected ahead of you?
I just think when I was in the squad now, there was games where, say, Robbie or Dyler at the time weren't playing, they were injured or something like that. I just felt there were certain games that I could have been given a chance to just show what I was capable of really. I was never given that. It was just like a 5-minute cameo here or there, and then just out of the squad. So I think after that, then as I went back to club football and tried to get my head and that down, there was players that have just come into the squad that were starting games. So that was frustrating as well from my point of view. But I mean, what can you do? As I said, I just needed to go back and start playing with my club and doing well really to catch the eye again.
Speaking of club level, Daryl, you've I don't think it's any secret that Mick McCarthy would have been a big influence on your career. Certainly when you went there on loan to Ipswich when he was in charge, and that loan became permanent. How did he get the best out of you? Because you were like a different player under him. Kev's already mentioned that season when you scored all those goals, and that it really transformed you and kind of put you as one of the best strikers in the Championship.
Yeah, I think I owe a lot to Mick. He brought me over from Ireland to Sunderland, brought me to Ipswich on loan, signed me then. I just always enjoyed it because there's no messing about with Mick. You get the truth straight to your face, whether you like it or not. You laugh at this. He used to come into the office on a Friday before a game, and he used to say, "Are we going to see the big soft paddy Saturday or what?" He used to say that to me, and it used to make me laugh. But he was just making sure that I was on my toes all the time, no matter how many goals I was after scoring. he was just making sure that my head was on it, and I think I needed that from time to time, as you know, playing with me or whatever. I'm a bit laid back, but Mick definitely, I think, just saw sometimes maybe I was just edging off a little bit, and I just need to kick up the arse really, and no better fella to give it to you than Mick.
Yeah, I remember when you first came over, Dad, you were playing a lot on the left-hand side, weren't you? You were playing as a left winger. People actually used to confuse you and me at stages as well. That was not good for you as well, actually. But what did Mick do then to try to revert you then as a striker? Was that always in your mind, yes, I'm going to be a number 9, I'm going to play through the middle? Or was it just about trying to adjust to English football when you first went over?
Yeah, I think it was just adjusting to it, really. I think in training sessions, because we had so many strikers and they were all well-known strikers, I used to be kind of shifted out to the wing in training, and I used to do all right, in fairness, and I think they just thought, right, he could do a job for us there, and it kind of started from there. But I always see myself as a striker. I just needed a chance really and I think when I went to Ipswich under Mick, he called me in straight away and he just said, look, you're playing as a centre forward, you're not going to be a midfielder or anything like that. And straight away, I was buzzing, you know what I mean? That's all I wanted. And he stuck with me. He said, you're my number 9. He said, and I want you to do well for us. And that's just a little bit of confidence then for the manager as well.
I think Mick's always had that in him as well. They say that it's more the little individual things that Mick says, and even that there's people, of course, still for and against Mick, but Mick was always like that with me from a personal point of view. How he used to address me individually, you'd always feel 10 feet tall, the old cliche, but he always had that way about him, didn't he? Did you get that instantly from him when you first went in there at Sunderland then? Was it always that relationship you had with him?
Yeah, definitely. I think he just saw, coming over from Ireland, I was raw. He probably saw something in me that others didn't. And as Keith said, he just knew how to get the best out of me. He knew when I needed a rocket up the arse, as he used to say, or a little arm around the shoulder. And that's what separates him, I think, from most managers I've worked with.
Well, we both have managers, Daryl, and we've, certainly me and you together, and Kev, I'm sure has had them throughout his career, where it's all well and good saying, okay, I needed a rocket, but it's the way it's delivered, isn't it? Yeah. It's not just for the sake of it.
Yeah, it's not
flashness in front of all the lads in the dressing room. It's one-on-one, and it's the way it comes across to get the best out of you. And look, I've never worked under Mick, but I've always had the utmost respect for him. Playing against his teams, I always knew what you were going to expect. I would have liked a couple of caps when he was in charge of Ireland, but look, we'll leave that to one side.
Nobody else pass the ball first kick, honestly.
That was a struggle. Listen, at club level, Warburton obviously signed you in the summer. Championship being the championship, he's obviously moved on. He had a very deliberate way of playing, and you were a focal point in that, in terms of that number 9 in a predominantly 4-2-3-1 system. Now you've got Karanka going in, similar system but a different style. I know you've got a knock at the moment, but is it a big change now at Nottingham Forest?
Yeah, I think we've made a few signings today as well, actually. A few lads come in, and I think there's a few moving on, but I think, look, it's going to take him time to come in and assess the players and the squad we have, and get us playing the way he wants. As you said, I've took a knock, so I'm only on the mend now. I've trained the last week, so I'm hoping, fingers crossed, to be involved the weekend, if I'm alright the next few days. But no, from what I've seen, I think he tried to sign me at Middlesbrough when he was there, before there was interest there. So now I'm looking forward to that. I just hope he gets time now to settle the squad and the players and get used to him and give it a go, really. We need a couple of wins.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it?
Great. Yeah, our form hasn't been great, but now hopefully we can turn that around towards the end of the season.
Yeah, I'm just looking, you're 13 points off the playoff, and it is this stage of the season, so you can't necessarily rule it out. It'll be an almighty effort to get anywhere near the playoffs, of course, but there has been sides that we've all seen it happen over the last few years. Can you still look at that and think 13 points, you can't necessarily rule it out just yet? Is that the mindset now within the club, or is it just about stabilising yourself and almost preparing for next season now?
Yeah, listen, we'd love to try getting the playoffs, and we'll try our best, but if we're being realistic, I don't think our form over the course of the season suggests we're anywhere near that yet. We we just have no consistency at the moment, and hopefully we get that in. I mean, as you said, it's just a run of games. You've seen teams do it over the years. If you get into a bit of form at this stage of the season, like, there's so many teams can just sneak in the top 6. But everyone's trying for it, and that's the league we're in. It's so tough. But I'd like to think so, but we'll have to wait and see.
Look, we're going through go back to international team, we're going through a little bit of a transitional period. You've been the first to announce your retirement. There may well be others in terms of the other lads that are in their 30s. How do you look at it now in terms of where we are? In my opinion, we always have to overachieve to really go anywhere. Certainly in terms of World Cup qualification, the last campaign, in my opinion, was still a relative success. Even in the manner it ended was disappointing for everybody. But where does Martin go from here with Roy and the management team? Do you feel that they're still the right team to move the team forward? And what way does it need to move to create a bit of positivity? Because it's still a real negative feeling about the whole kind of national team at the moment, which is disappointing.
Yeah, it is disappointing because, as you've said, that Denmark game is still in my head. We've done well to get to that playoff. From the group we were in a tough group, like, so. We've done well to get to that playoff. And look, I'm looking at it now, and I'm thinking, as you said, there could be another few players that retire as well. I think I'll look at the games in March and look to bring in some new faces, really. I mean, the fans obviously want exciting football, and I don't think Ireland has ever been that exciting team. But what we have is a great team spirit and a work rate that everyone knows we're not the best side out there, but we give everything for the cause. And I think that's how we've been successful over the years, is just pure determination and grit that got us through some games. Never know when to quit. But in what Martin's going to do, I've no idea. I'd imagine he'll call on some players and try getting some experience in the team, and hopefully unearth a gem from somewhere. Yeah,
that is a difficulty though, isn't it? You know yourself coming in. We're all expecting, a lot of new players coming into the squad now, but for Martin O'Neill to try to integrate 5 or 6 new faces into the squad, it's difficult in itself. How are they going to adjust? How are they going to handle the pressure as well? How can you just give us an indication how difficult you think a job that would be for Martin O'Neill to integrate new faces in there? Yeah,
I think it'd be very tough for him. He obviously must have a few players in mind who maybe been in the squads who haven't been given a chance. This is the ideal chance now, and with the games coming up to see. I mean, he's going to have to throw a few players in and sink or swim, really. You'll have to wait and see, but I just hope we do get some exciting players coming through in the near future, because we definitely need a lot of the squad, as I said, like myself. There's a few over 30, so it's pretty old squad. It'd be nice to see some young lads coming through.
Daryl, just to finish, what would be your highlight in terms of international career? Would it be Lille, Belgrade, maybe? What stands right up there for you?
I think Lille, definitely. Just the night that it was in there. I mean, you look at the chance Wes had just before Robbie scored. I mean, we thought that was the last chance that we were going to have, and then Wes gets the ball and crosses it in. I mean, unbelievable. Just the atmosphere, everything. That'll definitely probably be the highlight of my international career.
Daryl, listen, thanks very much for joining us. Really do appreciate it, and good luck for the rest of the season.
Cheers, lads. Thank you.
That was Daryl Murphy there. It was good to catch up with him. Were you surprised of his announcement to retire? Because he's amongst that cluster of him. Maybe John O'Shea, Glenn Whelan, Johnny Walters, Wes Hoolan, maybe Aidan McGeady. I think there'll be more.
Probably will be. I think you touched on that in the interview there, didn't you, with him saying about the possibly 1 or 2 more. I think there will be. I wasn't surprised. He gets to 34 and he spoke there about his body and what it's like getting back to club level and missing games and feeling tired, and it does. You know as well as I do. It takes its toll on you. It does a lot of travelling. And I know that, you know, as an outsider looking in, people are always critical of footballers and saying, look, you know, it's one game and 2 games, whatever it will be. But you know how you feel. On 48 hours after a game now, you can't get out of bed.
Yeah.
So
the older you get, and especially at club level, you mentioned about going back, not quite right. You know, it was different at Newcastle in terms of, look, he was able to be second to a choice. Now for us, he's the main man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So he needs to be rocking up, ready. Every Saturday independently.
He's got 18 months on his contract. He's got to try and look after himself and try to maintain that level over the next few years, and then he maybe gets to 35, 36 and he can continue from there.
Listen, we've got a nice little song I think lined up. Tommy's got a little tune lined up for us, I think, ready to play. You've kept this on the QT I think this morning, haven't you?
Tommy,
Happy birthday to you.
Sammy's your favourite day.
Right. Once you get past 40, it's irrelevant.
Hang on a minute. You're well past 40. Well past 40, and
Tomas
got you a lovely little
son, man. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Happy birthday.
Cheers, lads. Cheers. Thank you. See you don't. The thing is now, imagine that, right?
That's a Tinder Bueno.
Oh, is it? Tinder. I know a bit about Tinder, Tommy. Yeah, boy. Good, very good.
Back down.
Tom.
Yeah, but the thing is now, there's a lot of lads requesting to come on the Keith Andrews show, and I thought, yeah, I'll come on. So you've got the honour of me on my birthday, Keith.
Exactly.
That's
I do appreciate it, because you've had to get up a little bit earlier. You still got your run in.
Yeah.
Now you can consume a few calories. Speaking of that, actually, can I just put it out there that it's not actually me making the decisions on who's on this show, because I don't want to get involved in the office politics. Dave McIntyre last night had a little tear in his eye when he didn't quite make the cut. But
what I was disappointed with, you've got Dave McIntyre wants to come on. Dave is all rugby now. You've had Joe Malloy. He couldn't give a crap about football now.
No,
exactly.
It's gone.
Joe had never even seen a game of rugby till about 6 months ago. Yeah. Now all of a sudden he's the main rugby man. So I don't know.
I think Owen's next, to be fair. I think it might bypass Dave.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Bypass
Owen's a football man.
He is, to be fair, out now. Right, let's move on to transfer deadline. Movers, winners, losers, top 6. Right, let's go with Arsenal to start with. Going into this window, you're just fearing the worst. Ozil, Sanchez out of contract. Sanchez was probably always more likely to go, probably more so because of his personality and character. You can't imagine him being a good influence behind the scenes, can you?
I know.
So overall, you look at Mkhitaryan coming in, Aubameyang. There's clearly a bit of a power shift at Arsenal in terms of they're not Wenger signings.
Yeah.
The age they are, that's obviously from above. Giroud was the surprise for me in terms of the fee. Walcott in terms of the fee. I think if you go across North London, Daniel Levy would have got probably a combined fee of an additional 15 million for those two.
Probably would have done. Yeah, you're probably right there.
Probably gone a little bit on the cheap, but overall, decent window.
Yes, I mean, I'm sure that they're hoping that Mkhitaryan and Aubameyang can recapture the form that they had together when they were both playing at Dortmund. Do you know, my only problem, we had Stuart Robson on last night. We've had a few responses to the interview that we did last night. Stuart Robson, they feel as though he's got an agenda against Arsene Wenger. I certainly don't think that. I just don't think he likes Arsene Wenger as a coach, the way that he's gone about things. A few Arsenal fans even to me personally, saying, look, bitter towards Arsenal, whatever it would be. And there's no agenda towards Arsenal, but you've played against them, I've played against them, and I always felt when I played against them, Keith, I just thought they were ill-disciplined. I just felt as though that they weren't actually a decent bunch. That's what I always felt, and I've just got to be honest in how I see it. I didn't feel as though they were a good set of lads. Really, the lads that you'd want actually in the trenches with you when you're under a bit
discipline. Because he doesn't instill discipline.
Well, exactly. That's the thing.
They're not interested. I've said it for years they're not interested in playing football without the ball, and that comes from the manager.
Yeah,
it's always about them. It's always about in possession.
But Arsenal was always the club. When I was a kid growing up, it was the club that you looked to. You looked to Arsenal. They had higher standards than anyone else. It was about
They're
class.
Probably the first ones to wear the club blazers.
Definitely. I don't get that from Arsenal. I really genuinely don't get that from Arsenal at all. I don't get that feeling there at all.
Chelsea's Giroud's gone in. Ross Barkley, Emerson Palmieri from Roma. Out, Batshuayi, part of that triangular move. Only real out, I suppose, Kennedy going to Newcastle. We had a decent debut last night. again, though, we go back to Conte. How many of those are his signings?
I'm with you totally. Well, Barkley wouldn't have been a signing from
well, he wasn't
Conte
there in August to meet him,
yeah.
which is why the move fell down by all accounts.
Definitely.
So, good business.
No, I don't think it's good business for Chelsea this year. They needed someone to come in and be a bit of spark in that dressing room. And I'm thinking the league's gone to them now. The league is dead. They have. I said earlier on, they could still tactically line a side up and beat one of the better sides in the Champions League. It has to be about the Champions League for Chelsea now, and I don't think it's great business for them. I don't see them beating Barcelona. I really don't.
Very quickly, Liverpool, Van Dijk. Obviously, early business.
I think he'll be good. I think he'll be good.
Yeah, he will long term, but they've obviously got bigger issues. We've already spoke about them in terms of he ain't just going to solve the problem. It's a team issue in terms of the protection, the way they're set up. Man City bring Laporte in from Bilbao for transfer record fee for them. Mangala goes to Everton, which we've already touched on. Man United, that swap deal of Sanchez and Mkhitaryan. And then Spurs, Lucas Moura. Now, I know you spoke about him last night. He's probably a little bit different than what they have.
Yeah.
But he needs to get consistency.
Yeah, we spoke to Chris Waddle on the evening show on Off the Ball on Monday night, I think it was, when we spoke to Chris, and Chris was basically saying, look, he feels as though that he liked watching Tottenham, but they don't have that little bit of spark, that player that can beat someone, that can be that bit of a difference when it is in tight games. He feels as though Moura is that player, but does feel he is inconsistent. And you only need to look at Lucas Moura. I think it's no starts this season from him. He's only made 5 appearances for PSG this season. So yeah, he still is that player, and that's the level that Tottenham are at. And I put that to Chris, that Tottenham are a player, they've almost got to sign players that need to prove themselves. They don't sign the finished articles.
So like, I want to move on to Mahrez on that note, because they couldn't have signed Mahrez in terms of the fee, probably the wages that he was after. So like, Mahrez, 2 years now, 4 transfer windows since they won the Premier League. 60 million reported to have been bid. They were after 1995. He's seen from that year the standout players, him and N'Golo Kante. Drinkwater's gone off as well.
Yeah, Vardy, of course.
It's a tough one, isn't it? Because in this inflated market, you can see to a degree Leicester's, it's Man City knocking at the door, pay the money.
Yeah.
So they see where their players going. They probably felt 60 million wasn't fair, but equally, what type of player now are you going to have in your hand? Because let's be honest, he's down tools before. You see it within games. There's no doubting his magic and his talent. And I actually feel with Leroy Sané out, he probably would have went straight in at Man City, to certainly in and around squad coming on. But like, what are they going to have in their hands now?
Well, downing tools is, we've heard that phrase said so often, but he has done it before. Mahrez has done it, so it'll be an interesting one to see how it goes with him. Personally, I think, as what you're saying there, maybe what you're alluding to, is Leicester are well within the right to ask for 70, 80, 90 million for him. What he's done, look at the value of players that's moving on at the moment. Look at the value of players in the Premier League. So but I think it could be problematic this for Leicester going forward.
I'm at that game on Saturday. They play Swansea on Saturday, so be interested to see if he's
give a little mention to Nathan myself. Off the Ball on Sunday, we're at Anfield for Tottenham.
I'll be watching that on myself, pal.
Won't be listening.
I want to touch on some Irish players that moved in January and also yesterday in particular. Cyrus Christie moved to Fulham. That was a late one that got done. Probably no real surprise to see him not suit the style of Tony Pulis.
Most definitely. Tony Pulis, it's not that he isn't that. He wants a disciplined fullback that's just going to sit in his shape and defend. Nice solid back four. That didn't surprise me. Yeah, definitely. Fulham.
It's a good move. Andy Boyle had already moved to Doncaster, and then there's been 9 League of Ireland players move across the water. Now, predominantly, they're very young, so a lot of them will go into the under 23s. But again, it shines a spotlight, or it just kind of reconfirms that there is a huge attention on the League of Ireland, and the opportunities are there. You look at some of the names: O'Bonnell gone from Limerick to Brentford, Macmillan obviously more senior, Dundalk to St Johnstone, Barry Cotter, Waterford to Ipswich, only 19, Aaron Drinan as well, Waterford to Ipswich for Sule, Bowes, McElhaney, Dundalk to Oldham, Shane Blaney, Finn Harps to Doncaster Rovers. I've started, so I'll finish. Simon Power, UCD to Norwich, again only 19, and Warren O'Hara, Bowes to Brighton, again you'd imagine going in at 23s. So it's again, I suppose, vindicated the national leagues at 17s and 19s level. And
but you've worked with the lads at the within the FEI. I'd speak to some of the lads in there regularly, and there has been criticism for certain levels of the FAI, but you can't take away the fact is that the game in general is what is within everyone's heart there as well. They want to get it right. It is about developing youth from the FAI's point of view, and I think to an extent they are getting it right. And I think we may have to wait another 6, 7, 8, 10 years, whatever it will be, before we're going to start to see it coming to real fruition. But I think everything's in the right place at the moment, yeah. And it is nice that there is, you say, a light being shone upon the League of Ireland, because there is talent in there. I've seen enough games now to see that one or two players, or more than that, could actually go over the water and play at the very least at Championship level.
Yeah. And look, I know the standard right at the top of the Premier League. I have to be honest, I wouldn't relish now being a 15, 16-year-old in terms of trying to make it at a Premier League team, because the chances are so slim.
Yeah.
Michael Calvin on last week speaking about the percentage is
I mean, I would just say as well, maybe off the back of it, the few lads that have moved in around. You mentioned Andy Boyle has moved, but there's been a few lads. Owen Doyle actually moved, signed for Oldham as well this week as well from Preston. But the lads that's gone into Preston, I think they found it difficult. You know, there was so much hype around Daryl Horgan, of course, Andy Boyle, Kevin O'Connor, another one who's moved to Fleetwood as well through the window, and we are still waiting for Sean Maguire, hopefully when he gets back fit, with Jordan Hugel moving. But it does go to show that it is not easy. It's not easy for lads when they go over the water.
But I don't know about you, I'm going a little bit off track here, but even when I moved, I thought I can't get into Newcastle's team, which is why I didn't go to Newcastle. So you're going through now, where do you go? We've spoken about this last week, and it's something that's close to my heart in terms of the young lads going over. The National League now, they don't have to go. If they're not mature enough, they still get a good education. I've coached some of the lads now and the underage that have gone and played League of Ireland first team, so there's an argument to be made that they're getting a better education than the ones that are going to the bigger academies.
I'm with you. I'm totally with you.
I'm going off point here.
So that's good. I'm with you.
We got time for. I just want to thank Kev for joining me.
Cheers,
golden
Keith.
ticket with
Thank you very much.
birthday.
Yeah, cheers.
That's all we've got time for on the Keith Andrews Show. Join us again next week at 12:30.